And good morning, good timers. Off on another adventure today. Today we are going to be bringing you to the haunted fort of Fort Knox. It's in Prospect, Maine. And then also we're going to head over to the most haunted town in Maine, which is called Bucksport. And it's both along the river in Bucksport area, obviously, but along the Penobscot River, and we're going to take you there now. It's about an hour drive from the house. We've stocked up on our Starbucks and are ready to go, so we'll see you when we get there. Alright guys, so as you can see by the sign, we are overlooking Penobscot Bay, and this is the Penobscot River here right in front of us, and this does go out to the ocean. And this bridge here was actually, this bridge here was actually built in the early 2000s. It was replaced a suspension bridge that was beside it, which was a lot smaller. The only reason this was built actually so big was simply to attract tourists. And that was just something that the locals decided to do so they could get some more people up here to boost the economy. So yeah, this is basically built to be a tourist attraction, and it definitely is. Okay guys, so we are here in the elevator making our way up to the top of the observatory tower. It is 470 feet up to the top of the observatory tower. Once the elevator opens, we actually have to climb another 38 steps of stairs, but I guess we can probably handle that. But the view up there is going to be spectacular once we get up there. This is actually the largest bridge observatory in the world. So yeah, it is designed after the Washington Monument actually, and is almost the same height as the Washington Monument. Washington Monument is about 100 feet taller than the Bridge Observatory here, but biggest one in the world, guys. Alright guys, so this sign here just kind of tells you a little bit about the old bridge before they built the new one. The old bridge is called the Waldo Hancock Bridge, and it was active until early 2003. You can see the remains of the old bridge right here underneath the new one, a little bit through the woods right there. But the new one is certainly a lot more impressive than the old one, even though the old one at the time was also one of the largest suspension bridges in the United States. Okay, good timers, so the next stop is going to be Fort Knox, which is literally like a 2-minute drive right down the road here, and it's actually included in the observatory ticket, so you can get a ticket for either the fort or the observatory, or you can get a ticket for both. So that's what we did, was the dual ticket. So we are heading in that direction now, and Fort Knox is actually Maine's most haunted fort, and there was actually no deaths ever at the fort, so nobody's really sure why it's haunted, but there are plenty of spirits there. As a matter of fact, Fort Knox has been highlighted on many of the ghost adventure shows that are on the Travel Channel and those other channels. So we're going to head down there next and see if we can find some ghosts. Alright, good timers, so we are here now at Fort Knox, and it's behind me. You can't really see it from here, but you can see a big rock and a big cannon instead. But anyway, there it is. Fort Knox. You okay?
The bugs.
I know, bugs. Mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are killing Simone here. Alright, so anyway, Fort Knox was named after Henry Knox, and he was the America's first Secretary of War. Alright, and that was back in 1796. The first troops that were here were during the Civil War, but they were mostly training troops. Much like every other fort here in Maine, Fort Knox was never actually in any kind of battle. So they built this big granite fort and never actually used it for anything but training purposes. It is, once again, one of the nation's most haunted forts, and we'll tell you a little bit more about that here in just a few minutes as we explore around. Alright guys, so we are exploring the fort now, and we've started down on the bottom level. There's actually 2 levels of this fort, and there's a spot for 135 cannons here. Any given time back in the day, there was about 75, 76 cannons that were actually installed, but there's spots for 135. There's 4 batteries here at this fort, and we are in Battery B right now on the bottom level. So we're going to work our way up and see what we can see. So guys, I'm not sure if you may or may not have noticed this already, but if you haven't yet, you probably will. Fort Knox is actually a lot like Fort Popham, which you could have seen in some of our other vlogs that we just recently put out. And that's because they were built around the same exact time period and for the same exact reason, just to protect Maine's rivers and lakes, because the rivers were often used for the British to get to Canada back in the day when Canada was actually British territory. So these are to protect Maine lands from the British, basically. And once again, this was built about the same time as Fort Popham and looks pretty similar to it. So guys, what we got here is actually a furnace, and this was used to heat the 32-pound cannonballs that fired out of that cannon right over here. So the reason for heating the cannonballs, the reason for heating them was to actually, so when they hit the ships, the enemy ships, the ships would actually catch on fire. So yeah, a lot of hot balls are being made in this furnace right here. So guys, the cool thing about Fort Knox here, and my favorite thing about Fort Knox, is that you can actually get inside of it and go into the underground tunnels. You do need a flashlight, which hopefully my cell phone will work just fine. You probably don't want your sunglasses on when you go in there either, so we'll probably take those off. But we are going to go inside the fort right now and do some exploring. I guess now is probably a good time to talk about some of the hauntings here at the fort. So let me tell you about that before we go in here. This fort is one of the most haunted in all of New England and probably actually all of the East Coast. And why? Nobody actually really knows. Nobody was ever shown to have died here at this fort at all, either in battle or actually building it. So nobody's quite sure why, but there's a couple of theories. One is that the red paint people, and red paint people were actually natives to this area, and also natives of Europe, surprisingly, but in this area back in the 6000 BC time period. So way before the Native Americans were ever here, there was red paint people. They were called that because in their burial grounds, they were actually had red ashes on them, a red kind of dye almost. Nobody's really sure why about that, but that has been discovered in lots of these areas here in the Prospect area where Fort Knox is, and also across the river here in Bucksport. We'll talk a little bit more about that later, but that is one of the theories is why this area is haunted. And the other theory is people just like this area, people that lived a long time ago. For example, back in 1863, this fort was decommissioned actually, and a sole proprietor was named to watch after it. That sole proprietor was here for 12 years, and then he actually did pass away, but not in this location once again. But it is said that he does haunt these grounds still, and that people do see him in a large overcoat, dressed as a Civil War soldier, and you can see him walking the grounds and taking care of the fort still to this day. Also, people have heard ghastly voices in here, children laughing in here, footsteps. All this happens when nobody is actually around, though. So right now it's pretty quiet here. It's just basically Simone and I and a few other people in the parking lot. So we're going to see what we can hear when we get inside here. Probably won't be much of anything, but you never know. Guys, so Simone has made her way in here, and I have joined her. Say we got a stairway to get up. So, as you can see, though, how dark it is in here, guys. So it's just why they suggest bringing a flashlight. But you can imagine this being pretty eerie if you're in here all by yourself, and all of a sudden you hear other footsteps or people laughing and chatting with each other, and then discovering that there's nobody actually around. Some of the pathways are lit up. But not all of them. Yeah. You've got the original doors. Lots of little areas, though, to explore and get lost in, you might say. They actually do a lot of school tours here, so a lot of the elementary schools in the area do tours of the fort. They actually have a really cool thing in the fall, right around Halloween time, called Fright at the Fort, and it is well known in the New England area for being one of the best haunted houses on the East Coast. And that usually lasts, I think, all month, actually, on the weekends anyway. And yeah, they do a haunted house right here at the fort. So if it's not scary enough already, come at Halloween time. So Simone, guys, is our tour guide here. So if we do get lost in the bowels here of the fort, we'll know why. It's going to be Pickle's fault.
Why'd you have to call it the bowels?
I don't know, the basement of the fort? These cones are not the originals. This is where a flashlight might come in handy for old people like me that can't see very well. Shit, you know what? I actually do have my sunglasses on still. Hey, good call. Good call.
It's not too bad
All right, if we pause for a moment to take my sunglasses off. Good idea. Okay, good timers. We're going to head down to the A battery now, which is down here. As you can see, basically near the bridge, right along the waterfront. But yeah, once again, going underground here to get to the A battery. And Simone started without me. My tour guide.
Follow me. This way.
Follow her to freedom.
Right.
Don't trip down the stairs. So I have my sunglasses on again. Is that why it's dark?
It's dark in here.
No, it actually is dark. Okay.
No, yeah, you got your sunglasses on.
All right. All right, well, we'll see. We'll turn this camera back on as soon as we can see. I need to walk. There we go. Made our way down. Remains of a cannon mount here. It's kind of cool. And then you can see out here. So that is battery A. A.
Eight.
So we are now, guys, in the kitchen, actually. So this was the kitchen that everything was cooked in here at Fort Knox for the troops. You can still see the ovens here, which is very cool. Bake your loaf of bread right in there. Nice brick oven here. I bet some good pizzas would be made here. They do pizzas back in the 1700s? They must have, right?
Why wouldn't they?
Exactly.
Who doesn't?
Nice large dough box. So you can proof up your doughs, your sourdough breads, and you got your workstation back here.
Kneading table for the pizza.
So the kneading table for the breads, yeah. So yeah, pretty cool here, guys. I'd like to fire up one of these ovens.
I know, right?
All right, I'm not sure what Simone's exploring in here, but this is apparently where they cooked the bodies instead of the bread.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, this is where they cooked the bodies.
That's where all the dead people are hidden. Watch that.
There is no dead people. Nobody ever died here at Fort Knox. But it is still haunted to this day by somebody.
There's people here. I know it.
And that somebody probably lives right in that spot you just were.
Probably. I know. Whacked me in the...
All right, we're now in the enlisted men's quarters. So if you're enlisted officially, not just training, but if you are actually signed up and ready to go, you got this, the Taj Mahal of living quarters. Nice little bunk bed there. And actually this bunk bed over here looks like it's a king. You could easily fit 2 people on there.
Probably good.
Yep. Well, you probably fit 4, 2 on the bottom and 2 on top.
Yeah.
Especially if, you're into that kind of thing. Cozy. Yep. Watch out for that tick that's on there.
Don't tell me that. No tips in here.
Yeah, maybe.
Hello. Echo. Boo. Boo.
I hear people.
I see dead people.
I hear people.
I see a hole in the wall, I think.
Careful, that could be where the ghost is. So Fort Knox is also known, guys, as being one of the most well-preserved forts in the nation, and as you can see, they've done a real good job upkeeping it. Completely new fencing here behind me. They've also replaced a lot of the brick and mortar that's down in the fort itself, and along with the windows as well. So they do a real good job. It's all community run up here. Friends of Fort Knox, they're called, and they do a great job fundraising and keeping this fort in tip-top shape.
I made a no man. I said, tell me your story. He took out a notepad and wrote something for me. Then he kept walking on down the road, and I watched him disappear like thought I'd just seen a ghost. Then I looked down at what he wrote. It said, son, when you grow up you'll be fine. I know you've got questions on your mind. Life is gonna happen one way or the other, whether you like it or not. Stop looking for the answers and you'll find.
And all right, good timers, so there it is, Fort Knox here in Maine. And this is actually the other Fort Knox. There is another one in the United States, but this is the most coolest one, obviously, because it's in Maine. So if you guys are really interested in this kind of stuff, there's plenty of forts in Maine, plenty of history in Maine, and Maine's probably one of the most historic states in the United States. So it's obviously great to explore this area, and happy to do it with you guys. So hope you had a good time, and until next time, we'll see you.
Bye.
Bye.
Let's have a drink, just relax, all your problems will fade. If you're ready for a good time, count on me. There's a party in the backyard, dance your problems away. I'm all about the good vibes, I know you're all about the good vibes. Do you know how much I love you, wanna see you smile? Where's that happy girl that I know with a heart on fire? I'll do anything to make it fine, but I can tell that you have something on your mind right now. But I will make you forget all your sorrow.
Okay, whenever you're ready, it's recording, so.
Maybe not as exciting as I thought.